Hey guys, it took me a while to get started on this video after my last upload somewhere around Christmas. I've been somewhat busy during the holidays, and when I started this video last week, I figured it would take quite a while to put this showcase together. So my apologies for the absence of uploads the last 2 weeks. I can't promise it won't happen again, but I'll try to plan more ahead or let you guys know what's going on. In this video I'll mainly focus on Shadowstar Castle, but as always, we'll also show some other medieval themed mods that I thought go well together with this castle. Shadowstar Castle is another castle mod by Skyrim, an author that makes great looking and functional palaces and castles. Shadowstar Castle is the most traditional looking medieval themed castle Skyrim has made. This castle has been updated in December. I collected some footage from the new version and the older version of the castle. The newest version and the older version don't change too drastically from each other on the inside. However, the exterior surely looks noticeably different with each version. I can't really tell which one I prefer, since both versions have their charms. The newer version does have extra portcullis added that you can control, and it also has 2 new towers. Arriving at the castle's courtyard, we first have to buy this place. This castle cost us 30,000 septums. Still in the courtyard of the castle, we find some gardening plots and the shrine of the Bella. From here we visit the 2 newly added towers. The North Tower is a place for magic users. Here you find the alchemy and the enchanting table. Inside the castle we will find more of these, but this tower allows even faster access to them. This tower also has some beds for the NPCs of this castle, or any potential followers you have. The South Tower has cooking possibilities and more beds. You can use a ladder in both the North and South Tower to get to the balcony of these towers. From here you can access the defensive wall overlapping the gates of the castle. And here you also find some more guards. Upon entering the castle we arrive in the main hall, or throne room. It's a large open area which goes well in a more traditional medieval castle. This is the center of the castle, and every additional wing besides the undercroft can be accessed from this area. From here we travel upstairs, where you can access 2 defensive towers. Both towers are similar and have a catapult and a guard stationed here. The guards in this castle can be used as followers. This castle even has a handful of merchants scattered around the place. I myself always find that the NPCs in Skyrim's palaces and castles make the place feel more alive. You can however disable the NPCs by a button located in the bedroom, which I'll show later. Back in the entrance area, or throne room, whichever you want to call it, we visit 2 small conference rooms. This doesn't have too much practical use, but does really add to the feeling of this place being a large castle. Here you have a table with some clutter on it, and you can also find some maps. From the entrance area we travel to the display halls, where we will look into a few other medieval themed mods as well. Entering the display halls we arrive in a large hall with many mannequins to hold your armors. At the end of this hall we have some smaller rooms with storage possibilities for both normal and some dedicated items. Surrounding this hall we also find a library and a display hall for any relics and artifacts you find on your adventures. We'll first visit the library. The library is another huge room with many storage possibilities. Here you'll find some merchants and well-placed cluttered tables and studies. I do really want to compliment the far end of this room, something really unique looking and a clever way of using that book's feature. Upstairs you find some more studies, sitting spaces and storage options. On the other side there is a sitting area with a fireplace. Leaving the library, we walk to the other end of the mannequin hall. Here we access the display rooms for the more fancy items. Entering this area, we first face a nice looking pool. Surrounding this pool there are different themed rooms for artifacts and items. You have a room for the collectible insects, a Daedric Artifacts display hall, a Dragon Claw display chamber, a Black Book display chamber, an Elder Scrolls display chamber, and a chamber where you can display your paragons. Much like most of his other castles and palaces, it's a really nice and detailed way of displaying your items. And while we're still in the display halls, we take a look at some armors and weapons with a medieval feel to it. The medieval armory is one of my favorite armor mods, and as of such I did show it before in my favorite armors video. The medieval armor is very fitting for a castle like this, so of course I still wanted to include it without too much detail here. The armors included in this mod are very realistic and each armor represents a nation of that time. The armors are close to exact copies of armors they wore in the medieval times in Europe. I do go over each armor and tell what nation it belongs to in my favorite armor video, if you like to know a little more about these. Actually, looking back at my favorite armor videos, I did record those armors around Shadowmere Castle as well. I guess the medieval armory and Shadowstar Castle really complement each other nicely. However, these armors look best on male characters, and a lot of characters in this castle are female. Another medieval stealth armor mod recommended to me by Skyrim himself is the Crusaders Knights Templar Hospitaller Teutonic Medieval Armors. This adds somewhat similar armors as the medieval armory to the game. However, this mod also includes some new weapons, new NPCs that you can encounter during your adventures, 3 new spells to summon new knights, and even includes 3 new home bases for newly added knights. The Knights Hospitaller base is located in Whiterun. The Knights Templar base is located in Solitude, and the Teutonic Knights base is located in Windhelm. Inside these new home bases you will find lore books regarding the Crusader Knights added by this mod. It's worth checking out, but I won't go over in full detail on the interiors here. The armors from this mod come both in heavy and light versions and can be worn by male and female. I found that all of these armors look great and have some fitting helms and shields included. If you want to medievalize your Skyrim, you really can't go wrong with this mod. These armors can be made at the forge. There's 4 new weapons included. The hilt of these weapons has a Templar design. You can have a short sword, a long sword, a claymore or a mace. Finally, you can buy 3 new spells from Finis Castor in the College of Winterhold. With these spells you can summon 3 newly added knights. And beside these 2 mods, I know of one more medieval stealth weapon mod I really like to use. I personally like it a lot. It didn't make it to my favorite weapons video because reasons. The European Greatsword is a realistic Zweihander or Claymore. The weapon has the same stats as a steel two-handed sword, but its range and backstab damage is better. There is a shorter and longer version of the sword to craft. I really like this sword. It's not the most powerful one, but it somehow just feels right using this weapon. The range of this weapon feels more realistic than a normal two-handed sword, and playing the role of a medieval claymore wielding ninja is somewhat odd, but nonetheless a great and fun experience. You can also choose to give this weapon a Flambert's design, a design many blades from sword's head in the late medieval times. Now we have ourselves some realistic armors and weapons, we leave the display halls and continue the tour on this traditional medieval castle. Arriving back at the main hall, we go downstairs toward the crafting area. Here you find anything you might need as far as crafting and smithing goes. And of course all of the crafting tools here are also placed in somewhat of a nice and fancy looking way. Inside the crafting hall you will find a small trapdoor leading to the undercraft of this castle. The undercraft is another large area with multiple rooms. Most of these rooms have decorative purposes. You will find a dining place, bars and multiple beds for the guards here. What might be more interesting is a small secret behind the waterfall here, leading to a large cavern with a small lake. Swimming across the lake brings you to a spriggan that you can make a follower of yours. And travelling back the way we came, we take a quick look at the prison area. If you want, you can also access the undercraft from outside the castle. Leaving the undercraft, we travel all the way back to the entrance hall again and continue our tour towards the dining and kitchen area. Not too much to say about this room, it has some more followers, merchants, a lot of food, and more cooking possibilities. And before we head to the final rooms, I got two more clothing mods with a medieval feel to it. The first one are the royal crowns. Arguably not really a clothing mod, I guess, but jewelry instead. I've been using these crowns ever since my first videos, so I thought it's about time I gave these a proper mention. The crowns come in 4 variations. You can have a small or longer crown with a silver or gold color. I somehow like the simplicity of these crowns. The colors look nice and the small jewelry attached to it is a nice extra. I find that it goes nicely with many armors, and your hair also stays visible in your character. The crown itself isn't the highest quality mod you might have seen, especially close up, but I still really like it. I found the small crown look good on females, while the larger crown looks best on males. Until I find something like this, I'll probably be wearing these crowns occasionally in my videos. The other clothing mod is the royal ball gown, obviously female only clothing. A very nice looking elegant dress. You've probably seen my female followers in videos wear this dress occasionally as well. I'm using a retexture for the red, white and black counts you see here. This adds some trims to the dress. Finally we travel to the bedrooms. To access this area we go upstairs in the entrance hall again and pass the door in the center here. The bedrooms have many rooms with beds for your potential followers and the NPCs that live in this castle. Or maybe even children that you adopted. We first take a look in the master bedroom. Inside the master bedroom you will find a large fancy looking bed and displays next to this bed. This display hall is used to display all the divine amulets. I'm using the mod Divine Amulets retextures for these amulets and with a gold retexture added to that. The master bedroom also has a feature to disable the NPCs in this castle. You can even toggle the auto undress feature on and off for NPCs accessing pools and baths. But these buttons only show in the castle's its newer versions. I'm not sure why you would want to disable the NPCs in the castle, since I really feel like they add to the place, but the possibility is there. The bedroom area also has a children themed bedroom, in case you are using an adoption mod. Traveling further in this area you'll find one more large pool in the center downstairs. To the right upstairs there is a sauna. Now of course I really like this castle and I think it has been one of the first home mods from Skyrim that I tried out a long time ago. A lot has changed to this castle since then. You can consider me somewhat of a fan of the palaces and castles from this author. In the smaller rooms, Skyrim Les shows he knows exactly how to make a nicely cluttered room. He does keep the larger castle halls, like the entrance halls, more open and less cluttered, which makes the architecture stand out. This is very accurate to European castles. Some well-placed plants, flowers, even trees, a statue or even just a painting is all it takes to dress up those halls and make the architecture looks nice. It's really all in good balance between large open halls and the more cozy rooms. And I also find that the layouts of the rooms has been thought out very well, and this really goes for most of his mods. Not immediately noticeable, it's always fairly easy to access any crafting needs in these homes. And finally you won't really get lost in these homes, even though his mods are huge castle or palaces. You feel accustomed to the places really fast. Now it surely can be fun as well to get lost and explore a large castle, however this does take away the practical use being a player home. And with these mods from Skyrim Les, you can enjoy being a king of a huge castle, with all the luxury of easily accessible crafting necessities and not getting lost in your own home. It's good to be the king. And that's about it for this episode. Consider endorsing the mods if you like to use them. A comment, like or subscribe on my channel is also much appreciated and very helpful. Thanks for watching everyone, and see you all next time.